So just so that you can know, this is an addiction. It is any behavior that you do for pleasure or to escape pain. Any behavior. You're either doing it for pleasure, you know what I mean? Some people when they go to college, and then and their friends tell them, yeah, man, you know what I mean? No, that particular liquor right there, oh, you'll be blitzed. You'll be feeling good in about 20 minutes. Okay, that's for pleasure. Okay? It happens. Even to Muslims. I was the Muslim chaplain at UCLA. You guys know UCLA, right? Okay. When I'm in New York, I like to talk about LA stuff, right? So we had about 1,000 Muslim students on campus, and whatever you can imagine is happening with the youth is happening. Whatever you can think of, the partying, the boyfriends, the girlfriends, you know what I mean? And that is the reason why we started the Lamps of Light project, so that we could help the youth, to meet them where they are, right? You don't want to make things more difficult for them. You just meet them where they are. They fall into traps. They make mistakes. They err in their judgment. Like I said, they're a vulnerable population, and they don't have enough mentors. They need people that they can talk to, and they can tell them exactly what it is without any judgment, without any blame, without any criticism. It's just like, all right, let's solve this problem. All right? Because that's what Rasulullah ﷺ used to do. But we'll come back to that. All right? So this is the first thing. It's any behavior. Notice I didn't say drugs. Okay? There are more people that are addicted to behaviors than there are to drugs, to substances. Okay? So this is why I have it underlined. Any behavior that you do for pleasure or to escape pain. There are some people that have such emotional pain that the only way out for them is to take substances or to indulge in a behavior that helps them to forget. All right? This is important to know. So when somebody wants to escape pain, they look for ways out. They look for ways out. They what can I do? There's some people that go to drastic measures. Sometimes they'll cut themselves. I have clients, I don't know if I said it, but I'm a therapist, but I have clients who they cut themselves so they don't have to feel the emotional pain. It's a distraction from the real pain. And that's why they cut, okay? Because it makes them focus on something else. So it's any behavior that you do to escape pain or that you do for pleasure. Number 2, eventually, of course, that behavior, it leads to negative consequences. You're drinking too much alcohol, all kinds of stuff goes wrong. The worst thing that can happen is probably, alcohol poisoning that leads to death. But there's other things, liver cancer, all type of problems with their liver, with their kidneys. There's social things that happen. They end up losing their job, because they're oversleeping, because of hangovers, all kinds of things. So when that behavior leads to negative consequences over and over and over again, it's probably a pretty good indication that this person has an addiction. But the pin in the casket is number 3, which is despite those consequences are manifesting in your life, but you can't stop. 95% chance this person has an addiction. All right, and again, like I said, I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol. All right, not just talking about drugs and alcohol. It's any behavior. So I'll mention some of those behaviors, especially when it comes to internet usage. Like I already explained to you, at the top of the list is pornography. Please, if you don't know, just please take my word for it. I do this for a living. All right? I give a khutbah at a different masjid every week in Southern California. So I'm with the imams, I'm with the shuyukh, I'm with the boards, I'm with the Muslim population. I speak at all the MSAs, right? I was Muslim chaplain for 4 years, dealing with youth all the time. I talk to them at their camps. They call me. Since I've been here in New York, I've probably had about 10 or 12 different messages from different youth who are looking for solutions for different things. And I'm telling you that at the top of the list, what the youth are struggling with is pornography. Okay? Be very careful how you give your youth these devices. I have more than one client who is under the age of 15 already addicted because their parents gave them the device at the age of 11 and 12 and they didn't put in security measures, any filters on the phone. And remember, there's companies seeking them out. They want them to see these certain things so that their interest is piqued and then they follow it down the rabbit's hole. Be very careful about that, all right? Whatever you say, whatever you do, don't say, oh no, mine wouldn't do that. If yours is a human being, born living on this planet, they are vulnerable also, okay? One of the Imams, I want to say it was either Imam al-Shafi'i or one of the Imams, he said, if someone comes and tells you that they have overcome their nature, and he was speaking about the sexual desire. He said, if someone comes and says to you that they have overcome that, tell them that it is easier to take a mountain, pebble by pebble, and move it to a different place than it is to overcome that thing that Allah has placed in their nature. So if you say, oh no, not me, not mine, not ours, we have Islam, you don't understand human nature, okay? And so it's very easy for, especially if they're being preyed upon, to fall into different types of addictions. So at the top of the list, pornography. After that, it's probably gaming. Right? Now, I'm not saying that gaming is haram. I can't say that, but if it's going into 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and you have some of these other, symptoms here, you may want to, look at it, all right? Online gambling is starting to become a big thing too. Because you normally used to have to go to the casinos, you had to play cards with somebody, you have to play craps with somebody, blackjack or something. Now you can do it right on your phone, by yourself, in your room. And people, am I gonna get it the next time? Am I gonna get it the next time? Am I gonna get it the next time? You get a dopamine hit, you can do it right from your phone, okay? Excessive social media use. Every time you scroll, there's a dopamine hit. Every time you scroll, oh, what are they talking about? Oh, and then you got to scroll again to get the same hit. So the scrolling itself can become an addiction. Compulsive shopping, right? We all shop from Amazon. Is there anybody who doesn't shop at Amazon? Right? We all shop at Amazon. You go on there, you see this, and you see that, and before you know it, you're on there for an hour, and you went on to buy one thing. And then I had one client who, she told me, I was buying stuff. She said, I still have boxes from 3 months ago I haven't even opened yet. This is compulsive shopping. You feel good about it. Like, oh no, that's going to solve all of my problems. Let me buy that. Oh, that one too? I'm not sure which one. You know what? I'm just going to get both of them. Okay? It can happen. All right? So those are some of the other things.